Hello everyone! It's Thursday, we're talking about travel and I'm going to take you on a trip through Europe. We've already covered that I live in Germany. I live in Baden-Württemberg, which is one of the biggest states in Germany. It is the southwestern state in Germany, right on the border to France in the west and to Switzerland in the north. And I think we could even go to Austria in the north. I'm sort of a geography geek, so when I was thinking about doing this video, I took some measurements and I looked at some maps because I wanted to have points to compare US and European geography just to get an idea as to how big things are. And what I figured out was that in its area, Europe is about as big as the continental US, even bigger. As it is that small, it is pretty easy to travel from one point to another. We have an open Eurozone. That means that we can cross borders without border patrols. We don't have to show our passports when we cross borders, and we don't have changed money since 2002 because we all have the euro now. I don't know for how long we're gonna have it. In my Google map search, I also tried to figure out where I have been and what were the most southern and northern and eastern and western points that I had been in Europe. And I figured out that the most northern point that I have been to is Edinburgh in Scotland. The most southern point is Barcelona, Spain. The most western point, I'm not really sure what it was, but it was somewhere at the tip of Brittany in France. And the most eastern point was Budapest in Hungary. I took those measurements and laid them on the US and figured out that it is about Vancouver to LA and San Francisco to Denver, and make a rectangle out of that and frame it and hang it on the wall. I have been to 11 countries in Europe. Sorry, I've my notes here. I have been to 11 countries in Europe, not including Germany, so 12. I have been to the UK 3 times. I have been to France countless times because I have never lived more than 50 miles from the French border. I have been to Spain a couple of times. I have been to the Netherlands, to Belgium last year once, to Luxembourg once or twice because they have cheap gas. Oh yeah, it was including Germany. So 11. I've been to Italy a few times, to Switzerland, and if only to cross it to come to Italy. To Austria. Up until a few weeks ago, I've only been to Austria to cross it to go to Hungary on my class trip in 11th grade. But we went skiing in Ischgl there and Hungary, which was my 11th grade class trip, because my teacher was Hungarian and he offered to do that, and I think that was really nice. So that is Europe. Like I said, I've never lived more than 50 miles from the French border, and I have lived within the same stretch of about 100 miles my whole life. And of course I have traveled through Germany a lot. There is a lot to see, and you don't realize it normally. Germany size-wise, it's bigger than New Mexico and smaller than Montana, if that helps. We have, 2 different seas and the mountains and stuff. It's a country. And beer, Black Forest cake. It's nice. Come here. I'll take you around and give you cake. So that's Europe. I have been overseas twice. The first time also in 11th grade, I think. And that brings me to my Hungary trip. That wasn't 11th grade. I went to the US in 11th grade. That I know and that I'm very sure of. It was a students' exchange program that our school has with a school in Aurora, Colorado. So I went to Rangeview High, go Rangers, for about 2 weeks. When we went over there, we went to see the country a little. So I have been to, I'm gonna count layovers because it's the only thing I have. So I have been to DC, I have been to New Jersey, I have been to New York City for a whole 2 days. Then we went to Colorado where we stayed for 2.5 weeks, where I met very nice people that I consider my second family. And on our way back, we sprinted through O'Hare, so I have been to Illinois. But I want to come again. A friend of mine and I have talked about doing a cross-country trip in the US if we ever graduate law school, rent a car and just go and see things, and maybe that will happen at some point. So that was overseas trip number 1. And my second big trip was after I graduated high school 4 years ago. A friend of mine, a very good friend of mine, asked if I wanted to come visit her aunt, which doesn't sound exciting until you know that her aunt is a teacher in a German school in Palestine. So we went to see her in Bejala, which is a town directly next to Bethlehem and not far from Jerusalem. I would say it was the most exciting trip of my life, just because of the political situation and what we learned and what we saw. It changed my political views, not changed, but proved me right in some points, I would say. Well, it was exciting for that part that we flew into Ben Gurion in Tel Aviv and had to lie to the border guards when we were entering the country, because we couldn't say that we were going to Palestine. We had to tell them that we were staying. Of course, we were staying in Israel. Beautiful, nice country. It is a beautiful, nice country, but they don't like people going to Palestine and seeing what kind of shit they're up to there. And going back, it was the same ordeal, just, hide every piece of Arabian script that we had with us. But it was a great trip, and it's a beautiful country, and it is a shame that the situation is as fucked up as it is, because, for us it was easy. We could travel freely, more or less, between Palestine and Israel and see Jerusalem and see the Sea of Galilee and the Dead Sea, and we went to Haifa and we went to all sorts of places, and it is a beautiful, beautiful country. But seeing that people who have lived their whole life in that area can't leave their house, well, they can leave their houses, but can't go to the town that is 5 miles east, because can go east. They can't go west. They can't go west to Israel, and that is fucked up, because they're nice people, and I feel really sorry for them. And it was hard to see, because they are nice people. They aren't terrorists. They aren't even Muslims. They're Christian Arabs, and they just want to go shoe shopping. That was the one thing that hit me. We were talking to a woman, a friend of Ellie's, the aunt's, and she said, well, where have you been? And we told her where we had been. We'd been to Jerusalem and to a certain area of Jerusalem. And she went, oh yeah, I know that. I used to go shoe shopping there. Now I can't go shoe shopping there. And it's like, I'm sorry. I really am. I can't do anything against it, though. I do have this German passport that is like open sesame at the border, and you are Arab and you can't cross the border. Yeah. That's fucked up. I can talk hours about that, and I can fight hours about that, and I will. So many people have opinions about the situation, and they're allowed to have their opinions, but unless you have been through the situation and seen how hard it is to cross the border, even if you have a passport that allows you to, it's fucked up. There's nothing you can do, and there's no solution in sight. That's frustrating as hell. I could go on hour-long rants now. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna finish it here, and I will have a cup of coffee and try to calm down, and I'm gonna see Amy tomorrow.